Here is a throwback episode of one of my travels. This one is from 2017, and today we're flying back to Roxas City using Philippine Airlines. Following a 2-day stay in the capital and a short trip to Tagaytay to make up for the summer vacation that I missed while my law classmates went for bar operations, it was time to go home. As my law classmates took Cebu Pacific to and from Roxas, I was the only one to use PAL to ensure my Mabuhay miles remain active. PAL's miles program rules state that if the miles program is not used for 2 years, points will be forfeited. Thus, this was the reason I resumed my PAL flight. Now we are on the way to Nicole's International Airport. Here, we pass the central temple of the Filipino Restorationist Christian denomination, Iglesia ni Cristo, which happens to be my late father's religion. As it was still dawn, the highway was not so crowded or jammed, and our ride to the airport was just fast enough. But first, we need to stop at one of 2 historic terminals in the Nicole's or NAIA complex. Terminal 4, better known as Manila Domestic Passenger Terminal. This was the first passenger structure of the airport, which was built in 1948 and thus is the oldest of all terminals in the complex. At the time of filming, it was still active, and since February 2025, it has been undergoing demolition for replacement, citing safety hazards. Aunt Idaville Buensalido and her 2 sons, Joseph and Vincent, will use this terminal for their Iloilo flights with AirAsia, which was still based there back then until it moved to Centennial Terminal 6 years later. With the Buensalidos entering it, it was time to go to the Andrews Terminal or Terminal 3. Here is our terminal, which was back then 9 years old. All of PAL's domestic flights, mostly done by PAL Express, have been operating here for 9 years already, and only a select few are in the Centennial Terminal. I had been using this terminal for much of my domestic trips for 5 years, and the last of it would be in 2019. Once security was cleared, we had to look for the priority counters, which cater to online check-in, PWD, pregnant, senior citizens, and families with small children, high-tier Mabuhay Miles holders, and also non-revenue passengers. Thankfully, we found it where MacroAsia staff mistook me for a non-revenue passenger or PAL employee because of my Philippine Airlines shirt. Our only check-in was a hand-carry suitcase exceeding the weight limit for cabin baggage. Once it was tagged, boarding passes were issued and we were off to the concourse, but not before we had a light breakfast at McDonald's. Everywhere seemed silent at the terminal at this time as we walked to the security hall. The whole airport had gone to the Christmas season. As we all know, the Philippines holds the title of the longest Christmas season, starting from September until the 1st or 2nd Sunday of January. Security was cleared and we were all ready at the airside concourse. Well, we might need to buy either a Mrs. Fields croissant and cookie as well as some cinnamon, but let's find out later. Mom is on a urination break for now, so I had to sit at this gang chair to wait. Once she was done, we bought only Mrs. Fields and headed for an escalator to the ground floor gates because our assigned plane was parked at a remote stand, which needed busing. Here, I caught up with my former St. John's schoolmate, Lalaine Diaz, who was at the time of filming working as a bank teller and clerk at BPI, where she still works until now. She and her friend had just arrived from a vacation in Dubai, UAE, using Emirates, which was already operating at Terminal 3 since 3 years ago.
So, guess who's with me now? Lalaine Diaz, my former schoolmate in St. John. And she just came from the UAE from her vacation there, galing sa BPI. She works there as a teller actually in BPI. What branch? Gaysano Rojas. Yes, so anyways, you still visit St. John often or not anymore? Yeah.
Quite busy.
Me too. Busy all the time. Workaholic.
You study hard.
Study hard, workaholic, but I'm trying to look for a job. That's why, you know what happened to me in the check-in before we met? They mistook me for a Philippine Airlines employee because of this shirt, which I bought.
Where did you bought it?
I bought it from the PAL store. And this book also. 4:45 yung boarding natin, di ba? So, yeah, it's like 3 a.m. and my classmates and schoolmates sa bar ups are still sleeping. They're on a 4. They will.
Sleep mo si Aryan, diba?
Aryan, yes. 4 a.m. Not 4 a.m. 5 p.m. yung flight nila papuntang Roxas City.
She's with you then.
Yeah, I mean they're going to Roxas City actually yung mga teammates ko, the rest of my team. Ay, who are those? Tingnan mo?
Going to Davao.
Or Iloilo actually.
Ay, Iloilo?
That gate actually heads to Iloilo.
Iloilo.
But I really don't know if it's Iloilo. Maybe they're going to Davao. Kasi they're heading.
In no time, it was boarding call. We were bussed to our plane. And here we are at our aircraft, RP-C 8399. She was owned by Gekas and was leased to the then budget carrier Airfield Express, arriving in October of 2012. When Airfield Express rebranded on March 15, 2013 as PAL Express, the plane was repainted to the Sunriser livery, but the walls and seats remain. 3 years after this vlog was filmed, on the 2nd of January 2020, it was withdrawn from use and returned to the lessor, who then leases it as AirCap Nouvelle Air Tunisia, where it now bears the registration PS-INE. Now we board. As soon as we step in, the crew greets us wherein I present my paper for the captain to fill the details of our flight. With that, I hustled to my seat, and while on the way, we meet one of the terror professors of Colegio de la Purísima Concepcion's Law School, Christine Banday.
Attorney! See you on the flight today po, ma'am. You're on the vlog.
She was not my professor at the time of filming, but she teaches the final year of law school. However, she seemed to be supportive of my series, encouraging me to do more travels. And here we are at my seat.
So we're on board now on our leg from Manila to Roxas, and my mom's out there at the front. She's finding her way. I already put her hand luggage up there into the overhead bin. It's right there. And I just stored my baggage underneath this seat. There's some magazines out here in this flight. They have La Isla, Mabuhay, and Palbutik. I'll take all 3 magazines with me and keep them for safekeeping and collection.
By the way, here's an Easter egg in the PAL Entertainment app. Using your iPad's camera, focus it on the PAL logo of the safety card, and the safety video of your specific aircraft will play. With all passengers accounted for, the doors close and pushback commences. We can get glimpses of the planes parked, and of course, the historic Terminal 4, hosting AirAsia, Skyjet, and Cebu Pacific's turboprop planes. Snacks and refreshments were served as the seatbelt sign is turned off. Here's a chicken adobo filled bun. Mom and I decided not to eat it for now, as we would just have it as a lunch with some Indomie pancit canton and orange juice later. Well, because this is a short flight, the cabin crew have to be efficient and quick. In no time, our seatbelt light was on once more as the plane descends to Roxas.
Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. House right there. Exit right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philippine Airlines welcomes you to Roxas. The time for your convenience is 51 minutes past the hour of 5 in the morning, and the date today.
With the trip done, my paper was given back and I was all set to go out the plane. The good thing about remote stand boarding is that you can do plane spotting up close as you walk. And here we are at the 6-decade-old terminal of Roxas Airport. Once at the arrival hall, our porter friend, Turing, greets us and we give our baggage stub to claim our baggage. A singing group welcomes passengers to Roxas, at which point our mission ends. We thank you for watching this entry and hoping to see you in our next travels. Soar the skies safely.